lot of young mayors around America right now drink deeply from wells that we did not dig. I am here because of that civil rights generation, the black folk, the Latino folk, the white folk who banded together in incredible moments of American heroism.
Newark, New Jersey's new mayor is articulate, focused, and politically astute. He's also a fighter. He'll need to be, because Brick City is a tough town. So like every other urban area, we have a lot of problems with gang violence and the like with our young people. What are you all doing here to address the issues facing our youngsters?
I do not want to see the criminalization of our communities. I will not settle for, as much as I'm all over the place with my police officers and telling people, if you do something wrong, there will be a consequence. And I'm here to tell you, we're no longer going to have the brazen nature of crime in our city where people do it without any response. But I will not be a mayor of a city that solves a crime problem just because they arrest all black kids at ages 17 to 25.
What are you all doing to address the self-destructive tendencies of some of our young people to keep from locking them up and lift them up?
We've got to reclaim our souls. The solution is not when you fill up the prisons. The solution is that you have nobody going to those prisons in the first place. We went to the youth house and said, what's going on here is deplorable. As in most American centers where we lock up children, we often release them with no opportunity, sending them right back into the neighborhoods or environments that produce the criminality in the first place. And we say, no, we're going to create wraparound services for each child that comes out, and we've begun that with a wonderful pilot program that plugs them, they may not be going to college, but plugs them into employment programs, into programs that help at-risk youth. So we stop as a nation that does things backwards in many ways like we're doing right now. We're much more comfortable paying for incarceration rates, which are going up in astonishing levels, as opposed to the cheaper way of paying up front to prevent the incarceration in the first place.
The street just has no law. We don't have a street law anymore. What we have is a street survival.
Well, how would you suggest the violent epidemic be solved?
I just don't think it's enough here, enough to grab on hold to that you can feel that we're gonna make it somewhere, that we're gonna, be able to get somewhere and live, financially be okay.
That's hopelessness.
Hopelessness.
What you think needs to be done to stop some of the violence?
They need to open more community centers and recreations, because they ain't really got a lot no more. They shut them down, and then nobody got nowhere to play ball or do sports or whatever. Boys and Girls Club shut down. Right now, there really ain't nothing ain't nothing for the kids to do. And what about them doing that? It just ain't gonna, it's just not worth it. Like I don't know.
You have young kids getting at the age of 13, 14, getting their hands on guns and things of that nature. They out there selling drugs. 14, 15. Back then, if somebody was selling drugs, the kids didn't know about it. The adults wouldn't let you see it, But now, it's totally different. A 12-year-old could get his hands on just about anything now.
The leading cause of death in African Americans between the age of 10 and 24 is homicide. So we have a national health crisis and violence. That is inexcusable, that the leading cause of death of our kids is murder, and usually being killed by someone who looks like them.
My cousin was gunned down on this street, this very spot. People on the street and his family knew him as Juice. You can see the memorial. It's not a whole lot, but I guess it sums up how, his friends and family felt about him. They really couldn't afford a real funeral. I'm not, trying to say that like my family members were angels, because by far they weren't. But man, they were still human beings, You see these politicians talk about all these things that you're supposed to be doing for the people of the city, trying to make the situation better. But look, where's the safety in this?
Kids who are stuck in a certain economic or physical location, that once they become involved and are surrounded by gangs, it's very difficult for them day after day to say no.
Drugs and gangs is just taking over. We used to hear about it more on the West Coast. That's not happening here. It's only about 4 or 5 of them that's going to pass. 4 or 5 through the 400 or 500. 400 or 500 grew into thousands. The problem is you got the younger kids growing up and they're idolizing these cats, these gangbangers.
People are going to find ways to survive because they're not going to just die. They see all this opportunity out here and they're getting shut out of it. They're going to find a way to get in. What drives the crime rate is poverty and lack of opportunity and poor schools. One of the things that we've been able to do is really to grab sort of new ways of fighting crime. We've increased the number of police officers in the city of Newark. We're using surveillance cameras and gun detection equipment. We actually had 10 less murders last year than we did the year before.
It's more important for a politician to say we need more police on the streets, though more police on the streets will not answer the social kind of ills that exist to create crime in the first place. Is a politician to say we need more cops because they know people respond to that.
Instead of waiting in the emergency department for a patient to come, we put together the Violence Prevention Institute to initially show children that the medical and legal implications of violence were horrendous. We showed them graphically what gunshots do, what stab wounds do, what we have to do in the emergency department to put a tube in every orifice you have, through your nose, through your mouth, into your chest, through your penis. What we really do is no fun. So we tried to bring the reality of that to the children.
You need to talk about why these kids are involved in gangs. I was talking to a police officer who said they just don't respect authority, which is not the truth, because why would you put yourself in a situation where someone is in charge of you and your life? The question is they don't respect your authority, and that's the question nobody wants to deal with. Like, why they don't respect me, as opposed to I respect this boy on the corner here more than they respect the police, the fireman, the school teacher, my own dad, you know, the pastor, all these other people in the community. They don't respect none of them, but I want to be under the authority of the 5-star general of the Bloods. Then the question becomes, why is that?
We're a drop-in center for young people to come in. One of the biggest challenges and needs that they have is a place for them to go, a place for them to hang out,